Hello, welcome back into today's video. Just want to have a look at the big picture that's going on as we go into November. I've got some very interesting patterns emerging in the models this morning. Not necessarily will this translate into interesting weather for us in the next week or so. It looks very wet and settled and rather cool and dull really for us in the next week or so. But the big picture is actually looking really quite interesting, certainly for the time of year. Very unusual really patterns emerging for November. Anyway, before I get on with videos, just talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at GazWeatherVids.com. Please pay us because you'll be supporting GazWeatherVids.com by doing that. So we'll start off with the Met Office radar picture, just see what's going on today. We've got this area of light rain across southern England. That's from the cold front that's moved southwards and introduced much cold weather across the country. Actually pepped up a little bit overnight and produced a little bit of light rain and drizzle across these southern areas. These speckled areas here are heavy showers across the north and the east of Scotland, coming down in towards northeastern parts of England. With the cold air digging in, these are turning wintry. So for northern, central, eastern parts of Scotland, there could well be some snow showers this afternoon. And some of those wintry showers will come down the seaside in towards northern England, maybe into Lincolnshire, North Wales, parts of the North Midlands as well. Don't be surprised to see the odd flake of snow blowing around in the wind across northern England and parts of, let's say, Lincolnshire, North Wales and North Midlands this afternoon. Won't amount to anything, but it could be noticeable that you'll get the first few flakes falling of the autumn and winter season. But certainly for north and east and central Scotland, the showers will be more significant there, and there could well be some accumulations of snow, not necessarily over the higher ground. Anyway, let's get on and have a look at the charts through into November. I did a video yesterday, of course, explaining what's going on as we go through the first week of November. It's looking very unsettled, deep areas of low pressure bringing a lot of heavy rain and strong winds. But I want really you to keep an eye on the big picture across northern areas through Greenland, Scandinavia, the Arctic. That's the sort of area that I'm looking at specifically in this video, because we have got some quite interesting patterns emerging. So this is the GFS model for a week's time, Friday the 2nd of November. We've got this deep area of low pressure in the north, so it's going to be a very unsettled week next week across the British Isles, and we're bringing down this northerly wind. But notice we've got this blocking here to the north and the west around Greenland, down into the Atlantic, stretching up, you can't see it, but stretching up in towards the Arctic as well. Now as we run out to 10 days time, so this is for bonfire night, the 5th of November, we've still got the low pressure here across Central Europe, bringing down this northerly wind. We've got the high pressure out in the Atlantic as well. It's actually lowering heights a little bit over Greenland this morning with GFS model. This is the 6 o'clock run. The midnight run as well also went to try to lower heights across Greenland. But it's still quite a block set up really out to the northwest of the British Isles with this ridge of high pressure. And notice that over Scandinavia, pressure is trying to lift up a little bit as well. You haven't actually got an area of high pressure over Scandinavia yet, but that could be just the start of the makings of an area of high pressure over Scandinavia, because we're losing the trough. The trough is slipping down in towards those central parts of Europe. Now the ECMWF is much more interesting, much more blocked really for a week's time. This is Monday the 2nd of November. We've got the trough here over British Isles with low pressure, but look how blocked it is up to the north. Got this area of high pressure reaching through the Atlantic, going up through Greenland, across the Arctic, and then coming down in towards Scandinavia. We've got quite high pressure, so this is very nearly an easterly blow actually coming across the British Isles. Yes, it is very blocked here from the Scandinavia through Greenland down in towards the Atlantic as well. As we go out to 10 days time, Monday the 5th of November, we're dropping that trough down across the British Isles. It is weakening, but notice it's still very blocked here over Greenland. And yes, we've still got relatively high pressure up to the northeast of Scandinavia as well. Very cold air is pulling to the north of the British Isles. You would think that the evolution from this, or the way this would develop, is that this trough would continue to slip southwards, and this cold air, very cold air, will start to dig in from the north. Now that's 10 days away, so it's a long way out, but it's certainly a very interesting run from the ECMWF this morning. The GEM, the Canadian, is even more interesting. This is a week's time, Monday the 2nd of November. Again, we've got the trough to the east across southeastern parts of the British Isles. It's blocked out to the west of the British Isles as well. But look what happens as we get to 10 days away, Monday the 5th. We've got this very large area of high pressure developing to the northeast of Scandinavia out into Russia. This is the Siberian High beginning to push in towards Scandinavia. This is very, very, very early to be seeing this sort of development. You would normally expect to see this kind of chart in the mid to late winter period. To have this in November is very unusual. What you would think, if this is right, what you would think would happen is that this area of low pressure, the trough, would sink down into the Mediterranean. This blocking out to the northwest would reach to this high pressure over Russia, and the whole thing will form a large blocking feature somewhere around Scandinavia and pull the winds into the east. Now, because it's November, we're not looking at a severe spell of weather setting up from this, but certainly it would be turning cold. It is cold, actually. This chart is cold, and it will probably get cold as we go out towards the middle of November, if this is right. And I have to emphasise the Canadian model is often a little bit different to the ECMWF and the GFS model. But it's certainly very interesting trends this morning that we're seeing in these models. Very interesting developments indeed. And I think as we go towards the middle of November, we should probably be looking out for some really quite cold weather, perhaps, certainly for the time of the year. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy is threatening the eastern coast of the United States. So this is the current position of Hurricane Sandy in the Caribbean. But let's run through this morning's GFS and see where Sandy goes. This is for tomorrow. Sandy is down there off the coast of the east and southeastern states, off the coast of Florida. Running further out, we're going to see Hurricane Sandy moving up off the eastern coast. So there it goes. There's a deepening feature running up the eastern coast, taking some quite heavy rain, perhaps along the eastern seaboard. But as we get out towards the middle of next week, things will get even more interesting, because by that time, by Tuesday, Hurricane Sandy is off the coast of the northeastern states, so it's starting to threaten parts of Boston, perhaps New York, coming into the firing line from this, and it'll start to pull in some cold air on this eastern side. We could well start to see cold air being pulled down from Canada. Now, the model this morning actually wants to bring Sandy in as a very deep area of low pressure by the middle of next week. So this is Halloween. We're seeing the last day of October, we're seeing Sandy starting to move in off the Atlantic in towards these east coast. It'll be bringing copious amounts of heavy rain on this east side, gales, severe gales, storm force winds as well. No doubt there'll be flooding along this eastern seaboard coast. And this cold air, as we move further inland, this cold air will start to engage this low pressure and could well bring some very significant snow to some of these higher elevation areas of the east and the northeastern United States. This is going to be a very significant event, I think, weather event for the United States. Next week we'll be hearing a lot about this. I think if the models have got this track right, we'll be hearing a lot about it. Very significant rain, snow, stormy winds, flooding. It's all going to be going on in the United States next week. We're hearing a lot about it on the news. That's it for now. I'll be doing the weekend forecast tomorrow, so come back to that, but that's all for now. Thanks for watching.